So I came across this article in a local newspaper here in Iowa. And the article was about a vote at the municipal level. So a town here in Iowa voted to not allow people keep chicken as pet. So you can't keep chicken basically as pet. If you have a business of raising chicken, that is different. Then you have to get a whole building for them and all of that. So basically, you can own chickens and ducks as well in your home. So that really got me thinking about my own background and how I am really, really appreciating my experience and how life is in Nigeria, where I grew up, and in most places in Nigeria. Most Nigerians, I should be careful how I make these statements. In my own opinion, okay, it's not a statement of fact. This is just my own opinion. Most Nigerians are actually more freer than people here in the US. And honestly, in all advanced countries. Because governments have penetrated in localities, so in towns, in advanced countries, than it has in Nigeria. Currently, Nigeria do not have municipal government, meaning city governments. We do not. So when you go to a typical town, I'm not talking about big cities like Abuja, or Lagos, or Port Harcourt, or Kano. Big cities usually have heavy presence of government, so heavy presence of regulations. But outside of that, really, people are free. I remember growing up in Kado Village, Abuja. It's in Abuja. Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria, is heavily regulated, of course. But Kado Village, it still exists. My own place has been demolished, so it's gone. Of course, by the government. Kado Village is basically a ghetto in a big city. So growing up in Kado Village, I'm now appreciating the fact that I was able to raise my chickens. I was given one chicken by one of my mentors. By mentor, I mean he was someone I go often to his place to take mathematics lessons. He teaches me, helping with my assignments. Yeah, I used to be actually really good in math back in secondary school. I won 2 state competitions. So Abuja, one was organized by the National Mathematics Center, and the other one was by NNPC / some companies. and then quite a few others that I came second and all of that. So yeah, anyways, aside from that deviation, you see, I've actually lost my, my thoughts. Okay, I remember. So he is my mentor. Because of him, I was able to be really good at math. That was my whole point. So he gave me a chicken, and through that, a female chicken, through that I had a pretty sizable number of chickens, at least 10 at one time, or more actually. And then, yeah, I ended up eating some of it. Some of it got missing. I think some of them died. Well, I guess I didn't see them. But my point is, I had the freedom to absolutely own my chickens, raise them as I like. I wouldn't be able to do that here in Iowa. And when I was reading the article, one of those that voted against allowing people to own chickens here in Iowa, they complain of the smell. So if I own chickens here, my chickens could go to your house, enter your compound, mess up your compound. And they could smell, all of that. That wasn't an issue. Absolutely not an issue. I had my chickens, like most people. Almost, actually, homes are most, I won't say most because I don't know, but sizable number of homes actually do own animals, some type of animals. Goats, chickens, ducks, cats, dogs. All these animals are not domesticated. They go and feed whatever they feed, really. I mean, sometimes I do feed my my chickens at home, but after that, when I go to school, they go out and feed. They enter people's house, they feed outside. People don't have issues with it. If chickens come to your house and you don't want to have their droppings all over your compound, you chase them away out of your compound. The point is, I can understand why, on the basis of ownership of property, it's my property. Nobody should infringe on my right to enjoy my property. I can totally see that. Why people will be concerned and want to use violence, which is government, to solve that. And that's where my issue, that's kind of the whole point of this podcast. In the absence of violence, these kinds of things are actually not a problem. So you have this is sort of because this is a problem, right? My chickens could get to your house, or vice versa. Do you use violence to solve that problem, or do you use freedom? to solve it. And if you are afraid or you are not sure if freedom could actually solve that problem, you could take that from my life experience. Freedom took care of this for me and my neighbors. We had no issues at all with animals coming to my house, my animals going to other people's house, which I'm sure they did. Freedom takes care of this without using violence. And one other point as well, of course, I will keep adding points. One other point is really the overall freedom that I enjoyed while living in my hometown of Kado Village. As a kid, I hawk stuff for my parents and for me as well. This would have been illegal here in the US. Really, there is absolutely almost zero presence of government in Kado Village. We don't even have our own police station. That's usually one of the most prominent government institution that is really about everywhere, right? In Kado Village, there is no dedicated police unit for Kado Village. You have to go to LifeCam. Because, according to the government, Kado Village really shouldn't exist. And that's why we were chased out. Because the government claims the people who bought the land from, they are not the real owners. The government is the real owner and it has sold it to some people. So that's why there's no anything planned for us like the police or roads or all of these things. I love that place. I dream about that place almost every day. I have been here in the US for 10 years. And I dream about this, Kado Village almost every day. My best memories are in Kado Village. So, what am I saying? I'm appreciating the freedom I enjoyed and how that freedom didn't turn into chaos. When you tell people, when I tell people I don't believe in government because I don't believe in violence, so therefore I want a place that has no presence of government. The first thing people always, are concerned is chaos, that without government there'll be chaos. This is not so. This is absolutely not so. Okay, granted, Kado Village is just a town within a country that has government, right? But if it were true that without government people would just start killing each other, then we would have been having soldiers surrounded our town, trying to prevent us from eating each other. But actually, it is one of the most, it's the most peaceful place I've ever lived. Absolutely. Now and then you hear people chasing thieves at night. That's how actually thieves are have been chased. That's how we survive crime. You know, people smoking weed. I've known people who smoke weed. They do their drugs. They didn't hurt me. They didn't hurt anyone that I know. They hurt themselves. But that's their life choice. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. No one to regulate anything. You could wake up one morning and start selling anything you like. And the market decide if you're going to be in business. Basically, people decide if you're going to be in business. And that's why almost everybody has a trade. If you are not from Africa and you are listening to this, go to a village in Africa. Almost every adult there has a job doing something. That is why under a free society, job will not be a problem. But keeping a free society involves people that understand the principle of non-aggression, of the individual as supreme, and that is absolutely not present in Nigeria. It's not. We are a very collectivist country. Culture. We think in groups. When people want to do things, they have to consider others. Even though their decision will not affect anyone in any way, you know? Be it getting married, you are scared you have to do what your culture says. In fact, or you shouldn't marry out of your culture because everybody will not be happy with you. Once you have a little bit of money, you are obliged to take care of others, you know. Everybody sees you as a brother. With that kind of thinking, it's going to be hard for us to maintain a free society. This is not just Africa, but anywhere else. Without government, without violence. That's why in Nigeria, we are continually, gradually getting governments embracing it. I mean, the reason why governments aren't in our localities, our municipal, our towns, is because we're really awful. Our collectivist is just really awful. That we concentrate power at the center. So that really shows how collectivist we are. I mean, in countries like the United States, there are a lot more. The mentality has helped them devolve powers to states, even municipalities have powers. That's the mindset of the people. Power goes out to the people, right? But in Nigeria, that's not the case. Our strong collectivist culture has okayed us to leave powers at the federal level, to concentrate powers at the federal level. So, anyways, So really what if I should summarize for the second time the points that I'm taking away from this podcast is: one, I really appreciate the fact that in most places in Nigeria, we are a lot more freer than advanced countries. Absolutely more freer. That's one. Two, in order to keep the only reason why we are not rich and we concentrate power at the center is because of our really high collectivist attitudes. So anyways, I really, really appreciate you listening to my podcast. I hope you come back again. Thank you. Bye-bye.